My dear friends, before we start, I asked you all to press a like and leave your comment. This will help a lot to promote this video and to release news stories as soon as possible. It's not hard for you, but it's a pleasure for me. Thank you. My life had always been mundane, until we moved to Broken Cabin. It's a place where the walls whisper secrets, and the shadows carry more than just echoes of the past. Little did I know, it would lead me to an encounter with something otherworldly. It all began on a quiet Saturday morning. Sarah, my 22-year-old roommate and best friend, was in the kitchen trying to make sense of the instant coffee fiasco. She was frowning at the cup like it had personally offended her. Adam, I swear if this coffee doesn't work, I'm gonna take a sledgehammer to our kitchen appliances, she grumbled, pouring another attempt down the sink. Maybe we should just embrace the chaos and join a cult instead? I joked, my smirk betraying my usual calm demeanor. Oh great, a coffee-fueled cult. Sign me up, she shot back, rolling her eyes but laughing nonetheless. But laughter quickly turned to curiosity. That day, I felt a pull, a strange urge to explore the old, creaky building. There was something eerie about the place, something hiding just beneath the surface. I couldn't shake the feeling. I glanced at Sarah, who had become increasingly preoccupied with the windows. Hey, you okay? I asked, noticing her shiver. Yeah, I thought I heard something in the walls. She shook her head, brushing it off. Probably just rats or something, I replied. Old buildings like this, they come with a history. Sarah laughed, but her eyes betrayed her. Or something darker, she whispered, her tone suddenly serious. It wasn't long before I found myself drawn to the narrow hallways and peeling wallpaper of our new home. Each door seemed to guard its secrets. But one afternoon, as I paced around, I heard it, a faint scratching sound, like something was trying to get out. It came from a wall near my bedroom. Hey Sarah, come here, I called out, excitement bubbling in my voice. She came over, her curiosity piqued. What now? Listen to this, I said, pressing my ear against the wall. We stood in silence, listening intently. The scratching turned into a low murmur, almost like a voice. Do you hear that? I asked, my heart racing. It sounds like whispering, Sarah said, her eyes wide. I glanced at her, the thrill of the unknown coursing through me. Let's check it out. After a moment's hesitation, we decided to investigate. We rummaged through the junk in the attic, finding tools and old lamps. Eventually, I found a hammer. It seemed like a ridiculous solution, but in that moment, it felt right. I can't believe we're about to do this, Sarah whispered, excitement and fear twinkling in her eyes. Adventure awaits, I declared as I took a swing at the wall. The sound of drywall cracking echoed through the hallway. We created a small hole just big enough to peek inside. With a shaky breath, I leaned in, shining my flashlight through the gap. What I saw made my stomach drop. The space inside was vast, almost like a hidden room, but it was filled with darkness. Dust motes danced in the beam of my flashlight, and the air felt thick, heavy with secrets. Then, I noticed a faint outline, a creature lurking in the shadows. It was tall, impossibly thin, with skin that looked like aged rust. Blarvat, I gasped, recognizing the shape from online horror stories. It was real, and it was here. Adam, get back, Sarah shouted, grabbing my arm. I stumbled back, the reality of our discovery sinking in. What do we do? Before I could finish, the creature made a sound, an eerie, deafening scream that sent shivers down my spine. Run, Sarah screamed, and we bolted from the hole, my heart racing as adrenaline coursed through my veins. We decided to return to our apartment and regroup. We need to tell the others, I panted, panic gnawing at me. But who would believe us? Our friends, Kira and David, would just laugh it off. They'll think we're just pulling a prank, Sarah said, her voice quaking. No, we need to show them, I insisted, my determination overtaking my fear. As the evening descended, we invited our friends over, attempting to keep the atmosphere light. But I could feel the tension building, a storm brewing inside me. "Hey guys, you'll never guess what we found." I began, but before I could finish, David cut me off. "Let me guess, an empty pizza box?" He chuckled, stuffing his mouth with chips. "No, it's serious," Sarah interjected. "We found a creature in the wall." The laughter faded, replaced by skepticism. "Come on, don't tell me you fell for that urban legend," Kira said, rolling her eyes. "Just come see," I urged, leading them to the hole we had created. As we approached, a soft whimper echoed from within. My heart sank. "It's calling us," I whispered, the fear palpable in the air. "Maybe we should just forget about it," David suggested, his bravado wavering. But I couldn't let it go. I knelt beside the hole, peering in again. The scream sound grew louder, wrapping around us like a cold embrace. I felt Sarah's hand on my shoulder, grounding me. "What if it's not dangerous?" I murmured, half to myself. "Adam, it's a monster," she hissed, pulling me back. But the allure of the unknown was too strong. "I have to know." I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to this creature than just fear. I took a deep breath, deciding to crawl back into the hole, my heart pounding as I faced the darkness again. Sarah tried to grab me, but I was already slipping through, pulled by an invisible force. Inside the hidden room, the creature loomed closer, the scream sound shifting into a haunting melody. It swayed, almost dancing, drawing me into its rhythm. "Aldo, get out!" Sarah's voice echoed from the hole, panic spilling into the air. But I couldn't move. The creature's voice was mesmerizing, weaving tales of sorrow and longing. I felt it reach out, brushing against me. And in that moment, I understood this wasn't just a monster. It was a prisoner trapped in the wall, just like us. I turned back to the hole, desperate to explain. "It's not evil. It just wants to be free." Sarah's eyes widened, confusion battling fear. "What are you talking about? It's dangerous." "No, listen," I pleaded, trying to reach her through the darkness. "It's lost. We have to help it." The creature let out another piercing scream, shaking the walls around us. "We have to make a choice," I said, my voice firm. "Either we turn back, or we find a way to free it." "I can't believe we're having this conversation," Sarah whispered, her voice trembling. "We can't leave it here," I insisted, desperation clawing at my throat. Suddenly, David's voice rang out from behind us. "You're crazy. We can't just trust a monster." I felt my heart drop. The shadows around us seemed to thicken, whispering doubts and fears. "It's not a monster," I shouted. "It's..." Before I could finish, the creature lunged forward, its form shifting, its eyes now pleading. It wasn't threatening, it was terrified. "Aldo!" Sarah cried, her voice breaking. With a burst of courage, I reached out. "I can help you." In that moment, everything changed. The room was filled with light, illuminating the shadows that had haunted us. The creature transformed, revealing its true form, a reflection of our own fears and doubts. It wasn't just trapped in the wall, it was trapped within us. "Help me," it echoed, its voice a blend of scream and sorrow. Okay, I'll help," I shouted, determination flooding my veins. With a surge of energy, I began to dig at the wall, each strike resonating through the apartment. The more I dug, the more the creature seemed to grow, its form becoming clearer. "Adam, stop!" Sarah shouted, but I couldn't listen. The need to free this creature, to face my own fears, was too strong. Finally, with one last strike, I broke through. The wall crumbled, and the creature surged forward, its form now bright and shimmering. It was beautiful, a being of light, freed from its prison. "Thank you," it whispered, its voice echoing like a soft breeze. I turned back to Sarah and the others, their faces reflecting shock and awe. "See? It's not evil," I said, panting. But as the creature hovered before us, a sudden darkness enveloped it. No, you can't go back, I cried, reaching out. Long live the queen, it murmured, disappearing into the shadows, leaving us standing in stunned silence. After that night, everything changed. The whispers in the walls grew dimmer, but they lingered in my mind like echoes of a haunting melody. Sarah and I stood in the debris of the once intact wall, the remnants of our encounter weighing heavily in the air. What just happened? David finally broke the silence, his face pale and wide-eyed. Was that thing alive? More than alive, I replied, still reeling from the experience. It was trapped, just like we were in our fears. It wanted to be free. Kira, who had been unusually quiet, stepped forward, her brow furrowed. But what if it was lying? What if it wanted to bring us down with it? It didn't feel like a lie, Sarah said softly, her voice trembling. It felt desperate. David shook his head. So, we just let it go? You saw how quickly it vanished. It could come back. I clenched my fists, frustration bubbling up inside me. It was a creature of fear and longing. We have to confront our own fears, not run from them. As we stood amidst the remnants of the wall, the atmosphere shifted. The air grew thicker, wrapping around us like a shroud. I glanced at Sarah, whose expression was a mix of concern and understanding. What if it comes back? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Then we'll face it together, I said, trying to instill some courage in her, though I felt a flicker of doubt creeping into my own heart. The next few days passed in a haze. Every creak of the floorboards felt amplified. Every rustle in the shadows seemed to carry a hint of menace. It was as if the very walls of the broken cabin were alive, watching us. Maybe we should move, Sarah suggested one evening, her voice shaky as she sat on the couch, her fingers fidgeting with a loose thread on her sweater. And go where? We're not running away from this, I insisted, pacing the room. We need to confront it. Whatever it is, it's connected to this place. That night, I was restless. The whispers returned, pulling me from sleep, an insistent beckoning that I could not ignore. I climbed out of bed and walked toward the wall where we had broken through. Ada! Sarah's voice was sleepy and uncertain. What are you doing? I need to see if it's still here, I replied, my heart racing. I placed my hand against the cool surface of the wall, feeling the vibrations beneath my fingers. Suddenly, the whispers grew louder, swirling around me like a storm. Help me, free me, the voice echoed, soft yet insistent, pulling me deeper into the darkness. Adam, stop, Sarah cried, now wide awake and rushing to my side. You can't keep doing this. It's not safe. But the compulsion was too strong. I grabbed the hammer we had used before, my heart pounding as I took another swing at the wall. Dust flew, and with every hit, the whispers turned into wails. Adam, please, Sarah pleaded, her hands shaking as she grabbed my arm. What if it's just a trap? I can't ignore it, I yelled, panic clawing in my throat. I have to understand. With a final strike, the wall crumbled, creating a wider gap. The air shifted, a cold breeze rushing out, and in that moment, I felt it, an overwhelming presence, both terrifying and compelling. I am Barvine, a voice boomed, reverberating through the apartment. The creature's form materialized from the shadows, its rust-colored skin glinting in the dim light. I am bound by your fear, your doubt. Free me, and I will show you the truth. Truth, I echoed, my voice barely a whisper. Yes, the truth of what lies within you, it replied, its tone shifting from menacing to almost soothing. You fear what you do not understand. Sarah squeezed my hand, her grip tight with anxiety. Don't listen to it, Adam. It's trying to manipulate you. I'm not afraid, I stated, though uncertainty lingered in my heart. Fear is a cage, Barvine continued, moving closer. Break the chains that bind you, and you shall be free. What do you mean? I demanded, my mind racing with conflicting emotions. Show me your truth, it urged, extending a skeletal hand toward me. Face what haunts you, and I will be set free. As I looked into its eyes, something clicked. This creature was not just a monster. It was a manifestation of all my fears, insecurities, and regrets. It reflected the very darkness I had tried to bury. "Adam, oh!" Sarah cried out, but I was already stepping forward. The air crackled with tension as I reached for Barbvine's outstretched hand. In an instant, the world around me shifted. I was no longer in my apartment. Instead, I stood in a vast, swirling void, shadows swirling around me like a tempest. "Welcome to your mind," Barbvine said, its voice echoing in the dark. "What do you see?" I glanced around, recognizing memories that had haunted me. Moments of failure, fear, and doubt flashed before my eyes. Times I felt inadequate, unworthy, lost. "This is who I am?" I asked, my voice trembling. "No, this is what you fear to acknowledge," Barbvine replied. "Embrace these memories. They do not define you. They are part of you. Only by facing them can you find your strength." "But what if I can't?" I stammered, feeling the weight of the shadows pressing in. "Then you will remain trapped, just as I am," it warned, its form flickering. "You must choose." The shadows pulsed around me, a swirling dance of dread and longing. I closed my eyes, inhaling deeply, letting the memories wash over me. Every moment of shame, every fear of failure. "I'm afraid of not being enough," I admitted aloud, my voice breaking. "Afraid of letting everyone down." "Then let go of the need for perfection," Barbvine replied, its voice softening. "You are enough as you are." With a burst of clarity, I felt a shift within me. The shadows began to recede, revealing glimmers of light. Moments of joy, laughter, and connection with Sarah and our friends. I could see the truth. I was not defined by my fears, but by my choices. I understand. I breathed, a newfound strength filling my heart. I choose to embrace who I am. In that moment, the darkness shattered, and light flooded the void. I felt a release, a wave of relief washing over me. Barbvine's form shimmered, transforming into something beautiful, a radiant being of light, no longer shackled by fear. "Thank you," it said, its voice echoing with gratitude. "You have freed us both." With a blinding flash, I was thrown back into the apartment, landing on the floor with a thud. Sarah rushed to my side, her eyes wide with concern. "Adam, are you okay?" she asked, panic etched on her face. "Are you feeling?" I replied, a smile breaking through the remnants of fear. "I did it, Sarah. I faced my fears." The air felt lighter, as if the oppressive weight of the shadows had lifted. Barbvine was gone, but its presence lingered, a reminder of the journey I had undertaken. "What happened?" David asked, standing at the edge of the room, uncertainty flickering in his eyes. I freed it," I said, my voice steady. "It was a part of me, my fears, my doubts, but I chose to let go." Kira stepped forward, her expression softening. "That's incredible, Adam. It takes a lot of courage to face the kind of darkness." "Yeah," Sarah added, her voice breaking slightly. "I'm proud of you." I took a deep breath, feeling a warmth blossom in my chest. I couldn't have done it without you guys. We all have our fears, but together, we can face anything. In the days that followed, life at Broken Cabin felt different. The whispers had subsided, replaced by an air of camaraderie and understanding. We leaned on each other, sharing our fears and triumphs, forging a bond stronger than the shadows that had once haunted us. And as I settled into my new reality, I realized that the greatest monsters are often the ones we create in our minds. But with friends by our side, we can face anything, no matter how dark the night may seem. The end was not just a farewell to fear. It was the beginning of something beautiful, a journey toward understanding and acceptance. In the months that followed, I found comfort in knowing that we were not alone in our struggles. We had each other, and together, we would continue to face whatever shadows life threw our way. As for the apartment, it became a sanctuary, a place where we learn to embrace both light and dark. And every now and then, I'd hear a whisper, a reminder of the creature that had once haunted me. But now, instead of fear, I felt gratitude. "Thank you for the lesson," I would whisper back, knowing that I had found my strength in facing the unknown. The days rolled into weeks, and the atmosphere in Broken Cabin transformed. The whispers that once echoed through the halls had turned into laughter and light. Sarah, David, and Kira had become my allies, our bond forged through the shadows we had faced together. But one evening, while we were all gathered in my apartment for a movie night, a new unease settled over us. The laughter had faded, replaced by a palpable tension that lingered in the air. "Do you guys ever think about what else might be hidden in these walls?" David asked, glancing at the old plaster, as if expecting something to break through. I shrugged, trying to dismiss the thought. We faced Barvine. What more could there be? Plenty apparently, Kira chimed in half-jokingly. This place is practically ancient. There could be all sorts of secrets lurking around, like ghosts. Sarah's eyes sparkled with mischief. Or maybe more monsters? Great, just what we need, I said with a feigned exasperation, though a part of me couldn't shake the unease. The movie played on, but my thoughts wandered. I had faced my fears, but what if more awaited us? What if the darkness had not been completely vanquished? Later that night, after everyone had left, I sat in silence, the glow of the TV still flickering in the dim room. I couldn't shake the feeling that our encounter with Barvine had only scratched the surface. Something deep within me stirred, a whisper of curiosity mingled with fear. Maybe I should investigate, I muttered to myself, just to be sure. I grabbed a flashlight and made my way to the hallway. The air felt heavy, almost electric, as I approached the spot where we had broken through the wall. What if there was more to uncover? What if I could find the source of those whispers? With a deep breath, I placed my hand against the wall, feeling for any signs of weakness. My heart raced as I pressed against the surface, expecting it to give way. Nothing. I frowned, stepping back to assess the situation. Come on, there has to be something here, I urged, a mix of determination and anxiety coursing through me. As I turned to leave, a sudden sound made me freeze, a faint tapping from within the wall. I held my breath, straining to listen. Top, top, top. My heart raced, a mix of fear and excitement. Okay, this is it, I whispered, gripping the flashlight tighter. I leaned in closer, pressing my ear against the wall. The tapping grew louder, accompanied by a soft, mournful voice. Help me! My stomach dropped. It wasn't a voice as Barvine, but it was chilling nonetheless. Who's there? I called out, my voice trembling. No answer, just the tapping and the whispers that continued to swirl around me. I couldn't ignore it. Whatever was behind the wall needed my help. Stay calm, Adam, I muttered to myself. You can do this. I stepped back and retrieved the hammer from earlier, my heart pounding. This felt different than before. It wasn't just a manifestation of fear. It felt like a cry for help, a soul trapped in darkness. With each strike against the wall, I felt the weight of the memories and fears I had faced. This was an act of courage, an attempt to liberate not only myself but someone or something else. The wall crumbled, dust and debris cascading around me. I shielded my eyes and took a step back as a hidden space revealed itself. Hello, I called out, peering into the darkness. The flashlight beam cut through the gloom, illuminating a small, cramped space filled with old newspapers and forgotten belongings. But it wasn't the objects that caught my attention. In the corner of the room sat a figure, a girl, no older than 18, with tangled hair and wide, fearful eyes. She looked like she had been trapped there for a long time. Who are you? I stammered, both relieved and horrified. I'm Sophia, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. I've been stuck here for so long. My heart sank. Stuck? What do you mean? I was exploring the building when I got lost. I found this place, and then I couldn't find my way back, she explained, her voice shaking. I thought I was going to die here. I'm so sorry, I said, my heart aching for her. How did you end up here? I didn't know this part of the building existed, she replied, tears brimming in her eyes. I thought I was just playing hide and seek with my friends, but they never came looking for me. Anguish flooded through me. Sophia's fear was palpable, and it reminded me of my own darkest moments. You're safe now. I'm gonna get you out, I promised, stepping closer to her. Thank you, she whispered, her voice filled with both hope and despair. I reached out to help her up, and as she stood, the shadows around her seemed to shift. It felt as if the air grew denser, swirling with unspoken fears. We need to go fast, I urged, glancing back at the crumbling wall. I don't know what else is down here.